live from our studios in Portland. This is Mr. Gloria. Welcome you back to the African Messenger and today's topic, which is really interesting and exciting because we're having a lot of good time. So the say goes that when in Rome, people should do as Romans do. Which is true in some ways, but I kind of wanted to add a little something on it, kind of like an exception to that, because when in Rome, even though you should do at Rome as Romans do, there are exceptions to that, and Romans themselves are the first ones who will tell you that there were also rules, laws, and regulations and ethics, which means that because you are in Rome and Romans are committing crime, for example, it doesn't mean that you have to commit crime, because we all know what crime leads to. It leads to prison or to death or to something bad. So crime is not good. So it means that when you are in Rome, you don't have to do bad things just because some Romans are doing bad things. And you may ask yourself a question, is like, where am I leading with this? Where I'm leading with this is about the situation that we're currently having in our community with children and parents, especially when it comes to the idea of age. That at this particular age, a child is already mature enough and they can take care of themselves, and which is true. At some point in life, a child has to be able to say, I'm grown up. I can take care of myself, and I'm going to be out there trying to do my own life. We've all done that. We've all gone through those phases of life. We at some point you say, I've graduated from school, I've graduated from college, and I feel comfortable enough. I have a job that I have to build my own life. However, and I'm gonna put a big kind of like underline is very important in that. As much as it was in Africa, much as it is in our community, and I mean in every community that's thinking, kids need time. They need time to be able to develop and mature to be old enough to take care of themselves. Even after that, they are still kids, and I want parents to understand this. As a father myself, as a parent. Based on my own personal experience with my parents who gave me time to grow up, to go to college while I still live with them, to get to some point, to have a foundation in life before I said, Dad, I think I'm ready to go out there and venture and discover life on my own. They gave me time to do that. Unfortunately, what we're seeing in the community lately is we are seeing a situation where a lot of parents, they get to America and they understand that, in America, when a kid is 18, they have to be on their own. But I tell you one thing, as a parent, you need to understand this. I know some American kids that are staying with their parents until they're 30, until they graduate with their PhD, so they don't have to pay rent, so they don't have to pay all these other things. They still are participating at home, but they're able to save some money so that when they go out there in the world, they are not on their own. They're not trying to start something with empty hands. They go with something. And I'm sure we do this a lot in our community in Africa, where we kind of like supports our kids to a point where they get where they have that support. They have that good beginning. And I've seen it in our community a lot. Like even back in Africa, like where son or daughter is given 10 cows to start life, or they're given a piece of land and say, look, you're not going to start empty-handed. Here's a piece of land. Start cultivating. But this is something that we are losing as a community here, and I want to kind of emphasize on it. It's not an American, it's not an African thing, it's a human thing to understand that we need to help. The minute you bring those kids to earth, you need to be in a position to tell yourself that you need to play a role into their well-being in the future. and not fall into the trap of saying, oh, they're 18, therefore I'm going to show them the door. Yes, you may show them the door, but you need to understand, as you're showing them the door, but who is going to welcome them? And that is a problem we're having, and it's a problem we're seeing, and the parents need to wake up. The African parents needs to start working out. And even American parents needs to start working out. But for the sake of this conversation right now, as I said, going to Rome thing, that because we come to America, it doesn't mean that we have to do everything that we see in America. Because we become American citizens, it doesn't mean that we have to do every single thing that we see now that's happening in our new community, our new society. It's not really. If you move into a community where there's a lot of gunshots and drugs, it doesn't mean you have necessarily to do the same thing. No, you are going to continue wanting to be better. So what I'm telling parents right now is to understand that your kids, you give them a future. If you think showing them the door with the whole thing about, tough love and things, which I really understand, but if you think showing your kids a door at 18, right after they graduate from high school, or before they graduate from high school, because you think that is the right thing to do, because you think this is what I think is good for the kid, that's what's going to make them a man, I think you are making a mistake. Now, don't get me wrong. Some kids might be ready for this. I guarantee you. There are kids who might be ready for this. It is up to you as a parent to know your kid. Because when you know your kid, then you know how to decide with them. To see what's good for them. You may have a kid that's 18 and they tell you, Dad and Mom, I think I want to be out there by myself. I want to move out by myself. I have a job. And I can go to college and work and pay my little apartment. Just to experience and see how life is like. That is okay. I mean, the kid, they have a right to go and do things, and experience the world in a way that they have not experienced it before. That is a good thing. But what I'm saying here is for parents to understand that because you see things, you don't have to imitate and do things that you are seeing. It's not necessarily something that you need to do just because I see this thing, therefore I am going to try and imitate it. And you need to understand me and understand where I'm coming from. Because I'm seeing this in the community and it's killing the community, killing society as a whole. We have a lot of young kids out there, homeless kids, who are still having parents, still have parents. But the parents, for some reason, decided, this kid is 18, they're independent enough. Maybe you've had an argument or something, but still, that is not a reason to throw your kid out. We don't do it like that. That's not our community. We do not do it like that. We take care of one another, especially your own kids. We don't kick kids out of the house. We don't do that. And I think the parents understand where I'm coming from here. You need to start going back to the values that we had as a community, because if we don't pay attention, those kids are the future. The kids are the future. The community is society of tomorrow. When we keep throwing these kids out and they're ending up on the street, dealing with all kinds of things, ending up in drug and drug selling places, ending up being drug dealers, ending up being on the street, criminals and having records of all kinds. It is not a good thing. Because tomorrow you are going to grow old, my friend. I will grow old. And those kids that we should have taken care of for them to take care of us, we are not treating them well. And I want the parents to understand we need to start treating these kids well. You need to start taking care of kids and give them a chance to grow. You don't just throw kids out because the kid is not agreeing with you. They're having an argument with you. Educate your kid. Do what you can. They are your kid. They still and will always be your kid. Whether or not they're out there getting married at 30, 35, 60, they will still be your kid. You need to understand this. Parents need to understand this. And I'm really emphasizing on this one, that we start understanding we need to take care of our kids. We need to stop this madness about they're 18. Even if they're 21, I would understand the kid is already grown up. But you understand one thing is we don't do it like that. We give kids a chance. We give our kids chances. We see it in every other communities. And the whole thing about 18 and things like that, I don't know where that came from, but I do not agree with it. I think your kid is a kid. Your child is a child. You gave birth to them. You brought them into this world. They will always be your child. Unless you are an irresponsible parent, you should not be kicking your kid out because they're 18. Regardless of what the situation is. They're your kids. If you're not able to take care of your kids and make them better, then you're not worth to be a parent. Then you shouldn't even be a parent. You shouldn't even have a kid. So what I'm saying is we need to start paying attention to how we're dealing with things and what we're picking up. Again, I'm going to say this again and again and again. In everywhere we go in life, at work, in school, we learn about things. But not everything that we are learning that we are keeping. No, that's not what we do it. We are learning things and we keep what's best. We keep what's good about the things that we learn. It's like fish. It's got every piece of a fish may test better to somebody, but not all of it will test better to everybody. There are parts where you're going to take out and throw away. Maybe a dog could eat those, but there are other parts that you're going to keep. Everywhere, like even with meat, we see people taking some fat out or some bones out or something. You need to be able to distill. We need to be able to start doing these things where you take the positives, the best of what you see, and then you keep everything else out. I honestly think that the whole 18 years old, 21, I don't care. It is not a good thing, and you should not be throwing your kid out because they're 18, because they're 21. I think you should be giving your kid a chance. Let them stay in the house, guide them toward the right path, encourage them to go to school. Once they graduate, and this is my standard because I think everybody is there. When a kid has got a bachelor's degree, they have graduated, they have had a foundation. Help them find a job and see if that kid will stay with you. They won't stay with you because they already have something to start with. But once you kick them out of the house, they haven't even graduated from high school. What kind of favor are you doing? You are destroying yourself. That is your blood. That is your own kid. That is your DNA in there. We do not do it like that. Like I said, I'm going to repeat it again. We do not do things like that. We, in our community, we don't do things like that. We take care of ours. You need to take care of your kids. You need to give them a chance just like your parents gave you a chance. They never threw you out. You should not be throwing your kids out. Give them a chance and see if they don't grow to be responsible kids. I'm encouraging parents once again to take care of your kids. Once again, from the African Messenger Studio, this is Mr. Glorian Gazao. Thank you for the topic and wishing you all the best and asking you to please continue making these comments and come to us for more. We thank you very much and we hope you listen and you're gonna make some changes in your life for your kids and your future. Thank you once more time. From the African Messenger Studio, I say peace to you and keep it together because together we are a force. Thank you.